Today we stand before you to express our deep concern and opposition to the imposition of sanctions on Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. Sanctions are often employed as a tool of foreign policy to exert pressure on a nation. But in the case of Niger and other affected countries, they would be detrimental to the well-being of its people and counterproductive to the achieving of the desired outcomes. Niger, as a typical example, a landlocked country in West Africa, is already facing numerous challenges. It struggles with poverty, food insecurity, a fragile healthcare system, and limited access to education. Imposing sanctions would only exacerbate the suffering of the ordinary citizens who are already bearing the brunt of these difficulties caused by corruption. Sanctions are proved to be ineffective in achieving their intended objectives in many cases around the world. Instead, they often lead to unintended consequences and inflict harm on innocent civilians. By restricting trade and economic activities, sanctions can result in job losses, reduced access to essential goods and services, and hinder the overall development of the country. It is the vulnerable and marginalized populations, including children, women, and the elderly, who suffer the most. Furthermore, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea are grappling with serious security challenges, including the threat of terrorism and regional instability. These issues require international cooperation, dialogue, and support, rather than punitive measures like sanctions. By imposing sanctions, we risk pushing Niger and other affected countries further into isolation, impeding its ability to address security concerns effectively and undermining the stability of the entire region of West Africa and, of course, by extension, Africa. It is crucial to acknowledge that the people of Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea are not responsible for the sanctions or policies that may have led to calls for sanctions. The imposition of sanctions would be an unfair punishment on innocent individuals who are already struggling to make ends meet. It is vital to separate the political objectives from the humanitarian needs of the population. Instead of sanctions, we propose that the international community focuses on constructive engagement with Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. This can involve diplomatic efforts, dialogue, and targeted assistance to address the root causes of the challenges facing these countries. Providing support for economic development, education, healthcare, and infrastructure projects will have a far more positive impact on the lives of the people than punitive measures. In conclusion, sanctions on Niger and other affected African countries would not only deepen the suffering of the people, but also hinder the prospect of stability, development, and security in the region. Let us advocate for dialogue, cooperation, and assistance rather than punitive measures. Together, we, the African Continental Unity Party, we can work together towards a better future for Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. And on that note, we, the African Continental Unity Party, Nigerian chapter, we are joining our hands with all other African Continental Unity Party chapters across Africa. We say no.
No
to sanctions.
No
to sanctions against Mali.
No
to sanctions against Guinea.
No
to sanctions against Burkina Faso.
No
to sanctions against Niger.
No.
We say no to war against Niger.
No.
We say no to war against any of African countries.
No.
And we say yes to African unity.
Yes.
Amandla.
Amen.
Amandla.
Amen.
Amandla.
Amen.
We members of ACUP all over Africa do stand before the world to address this pressing issue and demand our attention, which is the ongoing war in Niger.
Impending war in Niger.
The intending war in Niger. It is a matter of utmost urgency that will reflect upon the devastating consequences of armed conflicts and advocate for peace. War, in all its forms, inflicts immeasurable sufferings upon innocent civilians and exacerbates the already dire humanitarian situations in Niger. The conflict has resulted in the displacement of countless families, leaving them without homes, livelihood, and access to basic necessities. Children are deprived of education, health care, and a stable future as they are forced to bear witness to senseless violence and destruction. It is essential to recognize that war is not a solution to the problem in itself.
Yes.
Resulting to violence only perpetuates a never-ending cycles of hatred and retaliation, leading to more bloodshed and loss of life. The people of Niger, like all human beings, deserves to live in peace, security, and dignity. We must prioritize diplomatic efforts, dialogues, and mediation to resolve differences and promote reconciliation. Furthermore, war undermines the progress of nations. It diverts valuable resources that could otherwise be invested in the development of infrastructures, healthcare, education, and other critical sectors. Niger, a country already grappling with poverty and underdevelopment, cannot afford to continue down this destructive path. Instead, we should focus on fostering economic growth, eradicating poverty, and improving the lives of its citizens. Moreover, war in Niger has regional and global implications. War in Niger has regional and global implications. It does not only destabilize neighboring countries, but also provides fertile ground for the proliferation of extremism and terrorism. The conflict becomes a breeding ground for various armed groups, posing a threat to regional and international security. To address these challenges effectively, we must adopt a comprehensive approach that combines security measures with long-term development, strategies, and cooperation among nations. Lastly, let us not forget the immense human cost of war. Every life lost is a tragedy. Every injury leaves a lasting impact on individuals, family, and communities. We must prioritize the preservation of human life and work towards a world where conflicts are resolved through dialogue, negotiation, and diplomacy. In conclusion, we implore all civil society movements and opinion leaders to join hands in raising awareness about the war in Niger and advocating for peace. Let us promote dialogue, support humanitarian efforts, and engage in constructive diplomacy to bring an end to these devastating conflicts. Together, we can make a difference and strive towards a future where peace prevails over violence and hope triumphs over despair. We, the ACUP, are saying no to war.
No.
No to war.
No.
No to sanctions.
No.
No to sanctions in Niger.
No.
And we are all saying this all over our beloved Africa. Is Weletu
We are
Africa.